Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining me again for another session of Messages from the Universe. So, while we get started, I request you to just focus, just meditate for a minute, focus on the question that you're looking guidance on, or if you're just here by chance. If this video ended up in your recommendation, then there's definitely a message that the universe is trying to give you today. So, okay, that being said, let's get started. The set of cards that I'm using today is from the Fairies Oracle deck. And I hope everybody is doing great today. Really excited to see what messages are going to come through today. Okay, the card we got today was the Lady of the Harvest. Let's quickly see what the messages are from the handbook that came with the card deck. We'll start by looking at what the artist had in mind when he had these beautiful pictures or art created, the fairies art created, and what messages are coming in through the fairies for us today. So the Lady of the Harvest symbolizes completion, grief, loss, harvest, release. After we have experienced the nurturing and fulfilling of the bright mother, the Lady of Harvest, also called the Old Woman or Crone, helps us to let go of what is finished and liberate ourselves to move on to the next phase of our activities and relationships. As in the natural world, the old becomes composed of new growth in our lives. The Lady helps us to adapt to change and release. Often we associate the Lady of the Harvest with loss, regret, and grief, and often we are right to do so. The basic phases of grief are shock or denial, anger or guilt, emotional storm, acceptance, regaining of perspective, the beginning of healing, and the deepening of our capacity for love. The Lady of the Harvest understands grief and is patient and kind as we go through the sometimes painful process of letting go. We may well need to be patient and kind with ourselves. We should note here that the grieving process is the same for little losses and large ones. Only the time scale and the intensity of the emotions vary, but they vary enormously. We might go through all the grieving stages of small losses in a few minutes, while it may take years for greater loss. On the other scale of letting go business, there are many things that make us lighter and happier when we release them. Old traumas, tasks, or stages in our life that we are glad to have finished, unhappy relationships, or feelings that cause us pain and inhibit our growth. Sometimes we simply comfortably finish with one aspect of our lives and move on to the next happily anticipated one. Such releases are cause for celebrations, and the old woman joyfully celebrates with us. In this card, we see both the patient acceptance of loss and joyful celebration of liberation. When we liberate something in ourselves or in the world, we grow to be more like the Lady of Harvest, developing our capabilities within us. So the card and the reading, so what does that signify? It's the time to accept change, to move on to the next phase. Power and strength in the present and future comes from releasing the past. This is the time for liberation, and we might as well cooperate with it. It will happen whether we want it or not. Release, and liberation may be painful or joyful depending on the circumstances. Cry if you need to, be joyful if that is appropriate, but in either case, trust the process, acknowledge what you feel, and prepare to move on. I think this is such a beautiful and appropriate card for the times we are in. The message that has come to us today from the universe is a broader message. Be it on the 3D, whether you're actually moving, completing one stage of your life, be it in your relationships or in your career, and then moving on to the next phase. Whether for some it could be a planned move or a planned transition into the next phases of your career or relationship. But for some, it could have been an abrupt, a call for change. I'm thinking for some, it could be your current job. It could be some closure in your, or an end in your current job, which came to you as a shock. It could have come very unplanned, could have happened very unplanned. For some, it could be in a relationship where you didn't expect a relationship to come to an end. Could have been abrupt, could have been something that you didn't foresee or plan. So the message here is pick the situation that resonates with you. However, the message here is we have to call the Lady of Harvest that's within us, who is guiding us. The guidance here is that it's time to let go of the past. Trust the process. If you haven't watched my first video, I think there is a connected message, or there is a progression. If you look, the Fool's card or the Journeyman came in our last week's video, where the universe was guiding us to confidently step forward. Take that first step into the unknown. And I think if you take a step back, even to take that first step, it's really important to get closure of your current situation. So if you're mourning on a loss of a person or a relationship, take the time. It's important to acknowledge the good that the previous phase or the previous relationship or your previous job or your previous career opportunity brought to you, how much you've grown. Reflect. It's the time to be introspective. Go within, look at how much you've grown. Every single experience in your life, be it spiritually, physically, relationship-wise, could be professional or personal, anything, any phase of life has to come to an end. Only in order for you to grow, to become to outgrow your past. Basically, that's what is the message I'm getting here. It's an upgrade. Trust the process. What you're letting go of is something that you've outgrown. It doesn't. It's helped you reach the stage where you are today, but you are on a path of greater good, of greater cause. You're being called upon to do something that's more than what you're doing today. In order to take that leap of faith, you really have to clear your emotional baggages that you have attached to your current situation. So that's where the Lady of Harvest has come in, saying that it's time to reap the benefits of the harvest. It doesn't mean that it's all lost, but it's just you're clearing the space, you're reaping the benefits of your current phase. Even though it's come to an end, you've only benefited through it, and there really isn't more that's going to come out of the current relationship or the situation. So it's time to acknowledge the good that you've received. Time to acknowledge how much better you've become. So the guidance here is accept the past and the present. Accept your transition. Trust the process. Release your emotional attachments to the past. In order for you to grow spiritually or in the 3D, however applies, however resonates for you, you have to trust the process of transitioning to the next phase. That's perfectly aligned with your intentions. That's perfectly, the path is paid for your higher good. The path is paved for your higher good. Guidance here is clear your emotional baggage. Go within and reflect all the good that you've got from the current situation and take all of those lessons learned, all of those blessings, the wounds and the scars. I'm not saying that they never happened, but everything happened for a reason, and there's lessons for your mind, body, soul. They only happened so that you know how to handle your next phase of your life. So trust the process. Everything is happening for your greater good. Especially now, I really like the line that says, cry if you need to, be joyful if that is appropriate. But in either case, trust the process, acknowledge what you feel, and prepare to move on. So we are in this phase of preparedness. Energetically, clear anything that is blocking you to move on. There is a bright future ahead, just waiting right for you, welcoming you. Trust your intuition and all the guidance that you need, all the help that you need will come to you. The right people, the right messages that you need to hear throughout your journey, the guides are there to handhold you to the journey that you're supposed to be pursuing. Okay, let's finish off there. I really hope this reading was helpful to you today to give clarity on the situation that you had in mind. So if you enjoyed this reading, please like, subscribe, and feel free to share with your friends, your tribe. I really trust the people who come here are the people who are sent here by the universe, who really needed to hear this message. Today it's a timeless reading. All readings I do are timeless, so your support is very important. That being said, I wish you all have a great rest of the day and a great week ahead. See you all soon. Thank you.